Okay, so before we get ahead of ourselves, I just want to talk about the basics of construction. I want to talk about the commercial process, basically from design through construction. And I believe that this is important because I'm going to talk a lot about glass and glazing, that trade specifically, because that's my experience from subcontractors. But that's my experience from subcontractors as a project manager. But if you don't decide that you like glass and glazing as a trade, or you're already in a trade, you can use this basic vocabulary and understand a lot of things. I believe that this video is going to benefit you whether you're just starting out or you're already well into a trade. And you may hear things like, why did the architect do things like this? I hate the architect. They didn't do this right. Maybe they did it for a different reason. And by explaining the process and understanding it and explaining it to you, I hope that it clarifies things so you have empathy for others' positions. And instead of finger pointing, you start to just look for a solution, which I promise you will make you better, which will make you more money after you decide to join a trade. I started Van Drafting, my drafting company, which primarily drafts for glass and glazing trade, but I left the name as Van Drafting just in case if other trades wanted to request my services. So I don't fall under just one trade for my service, and it could go to many different subcontractors. Luckily enough, there are enough glass and glazing subcontractors in the country to keep me busy enough on that. So I'm so stoked you're here. So I'm going to make this really short and sweet. In the construction process, it all starts with the owner. They're going to say, I want building A. They may not even know what it should look like. They probably don't even care. They're going to ask two questions. How much is it going to cost? And how much is it going to cost to maintain? Maybe they're even concerned about the time. They hire architects and interior designers, a design team, landscape designers, urban planners, to carry out their vision. Usually the architects and interior designers deal with the form and function and then add their own art and aesthetics, and that's their contribution to our world in this process. The architects are also responsible for looking up safety codes and making sure that the building has that, working with an architectural engineer are fabulous, and they make sure that the building is going to stand up. They make sure that the primary concept is going to stand up, because the small logistics of the materials fall under the subcontractors. So after the architects and design team, you have the contractor. The contractor is who buys the job, and their main goal is to make sure that it comes in on time and under budget. To do this, they issue a bid to see what subcontractors or subs want to bid on building A for the owner. And sometimes the cost of the subs determines the general contractors or the GC's price. So the owner may not go with a GC because their team is too expensive or their subs are too expensive, but they are the ones that are going to probably install on time and with pride and giving you a beautiful building. This decision is up to the owner. The design team has really no influence on it. They can only state what their experience has been with them in the past if they use them. They really can't legally talk bad about them. And this goes with responsibilities and who's allowed to say what to who legally and who has rights. Like a architect, even if they make a site visit, is not allowed to tell the subcontractors or contractors how to exactly install and do their job if they are installing the correct material. Now, back to the chain, we have owner, design team, GCs, and then the subs. The design team creates architectural drawings and specifications. You'll hear refer to the drawings, and those are the original drawings, the architectural set, the interior design set, landscape set. This is what was the plan that was originally engineered, given to the city for a permit, and then made sure with the fire department that all the exits are in order and has safe circulation through the building. Now, the general contractor and subs are allowed to look through this description of specifications and the drawings and see how long it's going to take them to install and how much material they need. They're going to work with local vendors, preferably, if they can, and then venture out into others that are specified. If the specification is not clear, they are supposed to send out what's called an RFI, a request for information. If this is not done during the estimating process from the general contractor or the subs, and they decide to qualify whatever material they want, and the wrong material ends up on site and then gets installed, the owner and architect, if they don't like it, they are allowed to make you rip it out at your cost, at the sub's cost, and then you have to install the correct material at your cost. And then any delays that happen, if that owner was expecting to rent that building out and get it going, and you're delaying that opening, the delays and those charges are going to fall on you. And this is just understanding the process, understanding how important it is to understand the process so these delays do not happen. And when those delays happen, you'll hear words such as like change orders or I'm going to backcharge you. And that is exactly what it means, that the sub may backcharge another sub, or the GC may backcharge a sub, and then what that creates is a change order that is issued and says, hey, this is not what I proposed, and so it's going to cost more. The change order is the transmittal that says how much it's going to cost. And that change order gets carried up from the design team, and they're supposed to educate themselves so they don't make that same mistake in a next project, in a future project. And then the owner is supposed to review it to see how many change orders they have in a project to then avoid this on their next job. You always want to learn so then you have less change orders. By having less change orders and back charges, that says that you have clear communication with the GC and the subs, and it also says that you're working with the subs on using their local vendors and getting material in quick, on time, as specified. All right, I feel like it's been a little bit longer than I wanted to, but thank you so much for sticking around, because if you're already in a trade, I do want this channel to take out a lot of the scariness of things. And so by talking about the basic foundation, let's just take away all those scary words like we were already talking about the list before that I said. So what I'm doing is I'm planting a seed, because say you're already well into your trade and you know the design to construction process. Well, what is stopping you from becoming a lawyer for subcontractors? No, really, what is stopping you? Because if you already feel capped in your position in the field, but you're a great negotiator and you're always helping out the head estimator and reviewing the contract and understand specifications, that is like high knowledge. What is stopping you from going to school now that you have some savings time? You know, you have grandkids, but you don't want to lay back. You're passionate about your trade and you want to influence others. You can go to school and become a lawyer for construction, for subs, and continue your trade knowledge. Continue your trade, to challenge yourself. So I just hope that with this basic explanation, again, it takes the scariness out. for everyone, even if you're already in the trade and looking to just go to something else. If you're looking to start school, that shouldn't stop you in your 50s, because you have the knowledge of so many people being in a trade for 30 plus years. Don't forget, the whole reason why this Blue Collar Broad is telling you to join a trade or learn a trade is because trades are awesome. I really believe that they give you a quality of life, structured living, and also pride in knowing knowledge on specialty that contributes to our home here that we need. Require physical strength in the field, a trade, but I want to take it further because it also requires sales reps and photographers. And yes, I'm reading from my screen, so leave me alone. Detail-oriented artist people who are going to take pride in installation, and prideful safety inspectors and driven leaders, as well as mindful office managers and sales reps and HR personnel. The list really just goes on. Drafters, shop fabricators, creative website designers, marketers, business owners, accountants, legal assistants, and the list goes on. But all these positions only help if you first know a trade. First understand the trade, and you will stand out. So even if the subcontractor that you like, say you like glass and glazing, thank you so much for thinking that trade is awesome, but a local sub doesn't need your assistance, your website design full-time. Create a company that does website design for all glazers, glass and glazing subcontractors, or join a legal team that only serves construction contractor. And when you know the trade and you're going to send out that email for an interview or request an interview or think about sending out that application to go out and join the union. So really, watch how confident you walk into that interview or walk into the union or send out an email for a request for an application or interview for a subcontractor. After you learn the trade, after you know the basic vocabulary, I really feel like this is going to take all the scariness away, and it's going to project your confidence, and it's going to impress the employer. So if anything happened on site today or in the office that you would like an explanation on, please email me. Let me know, send it in the comments, and I would love to clarify back. I want to connect all the circles as much as I can. And again, most of these videos are going to be on glass and glazing, but I wanted to just set the basic vocabulary of the construction industry because I'm going to be using these terms a lot in my videos. So if you watch this one first, then everything else should move along smoothly. I wanted to give you that full circle so I can sleep at night. So I can proceed and we can grow and be awesome together. So thank you so much for joining. I'm Jess at Blue Collar Broad, and this is why you should join a trade. Thank you.